Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 24 of Ain't This the Fun podcast with our usual bi-weekly guest, Erik Childress.
It's this guy.
That is
That's
you.
me. Yeah, that's me.
Uh,
How have you been?
yeah, I didn't do one last week. Should have. Something came up, and then I figured it can't again. Like the week prior to that one, couldn't go 2 weeks without doing one. Otherwise,
you have been streaming stuff.
Yes.
Doing video game stuff, getting more of that going. So that's cool.
Yeah, I realized as I was watching my videos, including these, how crappy they looked. I'm like, why does everybody's YouTube videos look so much better? So I started fishing around in all the. I thought I was broadcasting at 1080. I know my camera's in 1080. I believe yours is. It said it was 1080. This, that, and the other. Found out like some tech talk. Yeah, you like.
Please go.
You like big 10-cent words. My bit rate was low.
Oh, that sounds like go to the doctor for that.
I need medicine. I need a salve for that.
Yeah, that's right.
My bit rate was low, and I had it recording at low quality. Why? I have no idea. And then my streaming rate was 720p. Somehow I didn't catch that.
You know what's good for that? Boxers.
But you don't want it to heat up.
No.
I'm at 5,000 bit right now. It's very hot.
Okay.
It's very
That's
hot.
a lot. That's a lot of swimmers.
That's right.
Anyway.
But yeah, so I've been playing lots of Forza because the Hot Wheels DLC came out. And not only do I love Forza anyway, I love Hot Wheels. And then you smush them together.
Forza Hot Wheels.
Forza Hot Wheels. Not only that, but I went back and played the Hot Wheels DLC for Forza Horizon 3. I just made a 4 with my fingers. I can't bend my pinky. 3. And I realized I never beat the final big race. Like you do a bunch of races and you get points and stuff for the little, Hot Wheels event in the game. Right. And the last race of both the main game and all the DLC there's just miles and miles of track. It's some giant word, the mammoth, the Goliath, the this, they make it sound so grand. But they basically take you through almost the entirety of all the tracks in the game. They make one big, giant, mega lap, and it's like, 20 miles. So it's like a 15-minute race, 10-minute race, whatever it is, as opposed to it only being, 3 or 4. And you're going, 200 miles an hour over these big, crazy loops. I realized I never did it. So I did it on stream. So I got the final achievement, beat the Horizon 3 DLC. I still have a couple little points I'm missing here and there. I'm going to go back and get them. But 5 came out, and it's awesome. It's instead of it being one sort of large map with a bunch of sort of water amongst the land masses with all the orange, Hot Wheel track from when we were kids.
Yeah.
And mountain ranges and things like that. This is an elevated sky city, and it looks almost like remember Simon when we were kids had like the 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
In this case, it's 3. You wouldn't call them quadrants, whatever. 3 pie pieces, and each one has its own sort of biome. So one's like snowy and icy. The other is sort of deserty with a big volcano in it. So you actually have this racetrack that goes up and over the top of the volcano and then down into the funnel of the volcano and then out the side.
So totally realistic.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's Hot Wheels. And then the other one's like a foresty area. But it's all floating. So if you accidentally fly off the track, you're not just landing like in 3. You would land like in the water. You just fly off this big, giant floating city structure Hot Wheels thing, and then they reset you back up on the land and stuff. But it's you're up in the clouds. It's really awesome, and to see it in 4K the way I play it upstairs, I mean, it's just gorgeous. I mean, it is absolutely breathtaking in 4K at 60 frames a second. Like, it's Like I've called it before. It's like car porn. I mean,
Mm.
you can see the metal and the specs and the paint and everything, and then blazing at 200 miles an hour down a track in 4K is just amazing. It still looks really nice down here, but it's only in 1080 at 60 frames a second. But
It's weird you just use that word because the term car porn popped up into my brain like a day ago.
okay,
I was just thinking of something, preparing for something in the future, and I was just thinking of things I was going to be saying, and the term car porn got brought in reference to something else, got put into my brain. So, yeah.
there's only a couple things car porn could probably stand for.
Well, I'm not thinking. Well, I've literally seen a movie at Sundance. I'm forgetting the name of it, but
Crash.
it wasn't. No, I saw that at Streets of Woodfield.
There you go.
Most walkouts I've ever seen in a theater, non-festival screening.
That's what you really call autoerotica.
It is. But this one literally was autoerotica, but it was a Sundance movie, but it was kind of porny.
Okay.
A little bit. And it was like a bunch of short films that were sort of like porny. It was I don't know, they were porny. I mean, I can't really come up with any better to describe it, but there one of the segments, I shit you not, was there was the bottom of a car, there was a dude under the car.
Oh, sure.
Okay. And like I guess the drive shaft, am I saying that right?
That would go from the engine either to the back tires or to the front and back or to the front to turn the wheels.
So I got that correct then.
Okay.
But the thing that's on the bottom of the car is, turning and turning and turning.
Yes.
So imagine like that, and then a guy taking his package and just putting it right up there and letting it do this on the package.
Well,
movie.
You're making more than one revolution with your fingers.
Yeah.
It would probably be a half a revolution, and that would be over at that point, wouldn't it? It would just get torn off.
Well, he didn't put like the wiener over the thing and let it wrap around like a cartoon.
Is that the medical term?
A wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think if I remember, this is many years ago. Okay. And since remember, car porn's now bringing us back. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was like his sack.
Is twig and berries.
His boys.
Oh, just the berries.
Just the berries.
Oh, yeah, but still,
I think there was some shaft action.
How many RPMs on that?
I'll have to go back and remember what movie what it was called.
Was it so? It was like Cole rubbing, or it was like being wound up like yarn?
No, no winding.
I was gonna say because you only get a half a revolution with that. Then it just gets torn off.
The thing is going around, and it's kind of like imagine it's so, but it's just kind of like just getting it up there enough to get a little rubbing going.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
The show didn't start the way you thought it would, did it?
No.
Yeah.
No. It went from Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
To car porn to literally almost car porn.
Shaft on shaft action.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Samuel L. Jackson or Richard Roundtree.
No.
No. Hi, Sergio.
Yeah. You didn't know what you walked into this time, Sergio.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that film has never been released. I could be wrong. Maybe it's out there somewhere, but
the guy rubbing his sack on the drive shaft.
It's one of the 7. I mean, there's other things that go on in that thing, but it's like 7. It was like 7 filmmakers doing 7 different types of porn-y related shorts.
All involving cars, or just the one?
No. Just that one was the only one involving cars. There's another one like was like a porn audition thing, and that's the one I remember because that was the best one.
Well, they always say about the movie Cars. How do new cars get made in that universe?
Right. They watch Doc Hollywood and then they write the script. That's how.
Well done.
Cars get made.
Well done.
Yes.
I love Doc Hollywood. Talk about things we like. I really like Doc Hollywood.
Why does it have to be 3? Why does it only have to be? We could just rattle off all kinds of things that make us happy.
Yeah, Doc. I haven't seen that in so long. I gotta watch
that. So good. It's so good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to write that down right now. Literally.
Yeah. And also write shaft on shaft action. Put that down. I'm gonna find that movie. I don't think there's a trailer for it. I'm gonna find that during the show.
How do you make a trailer about that?
Well, you can't really put it in theaters.
You hook the trailer up to the car.
There
You like that?
Very good.
See what I did there?
Yeah, that'll definitely rip the fucking sack off.
Yeah, that's not good. What? So yeah, no, that's not good.
No.
But yeah, I've been messing around with that. I think I streamed like 4 or 5 times over the week to try to test things out. Instead of keeping, what I've been doing is just taking these streams and then hitting the button to publish it, and then adding notes to it. And so it takes a stream and it literally says next to it streamed however many days ago, and then obviously it puts the date, right? But all your streams, when they, at least the way I'm understanding it is, as you're doing them, they get compressed to be broadcast. And so especially if you're playing a game, you get a lot of fast-moving objects on the screen. It'll get pixely. You know, you get a little bit of defragging. You know, it's probably a bad use of the word, but you know, like you get some artifacting and some repeat pixels and stuff. And so it doesn't look nearly as nice like that, especially when you're playing something like a video game. But if you, like I do, these are always recorded. If you take that recording and you upload it, you're not recording the stream post-stream. Like, it doesn't record it off of YouTube. You're recording it real time from the device you're using. And so it should be, theoretically, as far as I can tell, less pixely. And the tests I did, it even auto-played it at 1080, 60 frames a second, even had a little indicator on the PC at least, to show that it was doing it properly, the recording I put down. And it looked better as far as I could tell.
Okay.
So I think I got it up and running, but we'll see. It even has a warning on Streamlabs when you go to do it. It says regular or lower quality, you know, lower file size, obviously. Yeah. And it says like intermediate, but then it says like you couldn't, as close to possible without any distortion, large file. But if you put highest quality lossless video, it says like immensely large file. It like literally warns you, like, if you do this, it's like one file is going to be like terabytes or something crazy. I don't know what it is. Probably, 6, 7, 8 gigs. But it literally has a big word. It says, huge, be wary. So I didn't crank it up to that, but I did. The bitrate should make it look a little nicer. So anyway,
speaking of cranking it up, by the way, if you ever want to know during the course of the show, I did find the movie.
Okay. Is it called Crank?
It's not called Crank.
Cranking it up?
That's not called Crank or Crank High Voltage.
Corvette Summer?
No, it's called Destricted.
Okay, hey, put it on your list. Destricted.
Yeah, one. It's a lot more. I mean, there's a lot more directors than I remember. A lot more segments apparently than I remembered. I put a lot of them out of my head. I think the one that I'm referring to is called Hoist. Hoist. Yeah.
It's not called Crank That Shaft or anything like that?
Not called Crank That Shaft, no. There's, no. I mean, I have all the titles of the films here if you want to hear them.
Sure, why not?
Okay. Balkan Erotic Epic.
Balkan?
Balkan, Balkan.
Okay.
Hoist, as mentioned. Sink, which was directed by the guy who directed Demolition Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it involve time travel? Or...
No? I don't think so. Sink, okay. I don't know. I don't remember which one. Four letter Heaven. Okay, guess what those 4 letters are. Impaled.
Come on.
I'm not making this up. We're not back in the video store.
That's ridiculous.
Impaled. Scratch this.
Are you sure that's not the one with the...
I got an itch. Green Pink Caviar. I'm not making this up. Is this an R-rated show? I've already said whatever. We Fuck Alone. House Call.
That could be the one with the car, unless you count the car as a person.
I'm pretty sure it's Hoist because that director, if I'm familiar with his body of work,
body.
Which I have not seen all of it, but I'm familiar with it. That seems very much. He's a shaft on shaft action guy.
There is such a thing as an engine hoist, so
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. Death Valley, which was directed by the woman who did the first 50 Shades of Grey movie, and Cooking.
It's just called Cooking?
It's called Cooking.
9.5 week style?
I don't know.
You couldn't sit through all 7 erotic car porn videos?
I know. I sat at a screening at Sundance and saw this movie. I did not walk out of this movie at all.
And you don't remember what the cooking one's about? You think that one would be right at the top of the list?
This is 2006.
This seems pretty impressionable, though. This isn't...
Well, I don't think you'd forget the drive shaft thing.
No.
You know? And I remember that in the porno. I think the porno audition one is the Larry Clark one. The guy who did Kids and a lot of
yeah, we won't talk about him.
But yeah, that was, if I remember right, that was the one that was most interesting one.
Were they like interconnected, like 12 rooms or anything?
No, it wasn't anything. It was just like a collection of short films, all put together. It wasn't a short film program. It was actual one film, 2 hours long, whatever it was, destricted.
There you go. Put it on your list if you want to watch.
Not one of my 3 tonight, by the way.
If you want to watch beans on pole action.
Yeah, it's there's more. It's more than just the drive shaft, if I recall.
Okay.
But it all has to do with a dude in a car. And the car parts.
It's not called Turbo Teen? It's not that either?
No. That sounds like the Larry Clark segment.
Let's be clear. I just said Turbo Teen involving a car and sex. This does not involve sex and a teenager. There was a cartoon called Turbo Teen where a guy turned into a red Firebird like car and drove his friends around on his body as he drove around like a car.
No, if you
that was called Turbo Teen.
If you want to see a movie with sex and a car, there's a great movie last year called Titan.
Titan, T-A-T-A-N-E. Okay.
So it looks like Titan, but it's Titan, like titanium. And she literally has sex with a car.
That might, yeah.
It's that's not the only thing that happens in the movie, but it's great.
Sound is going
original, uncomfortable, original, terrific.
Like completely in and out, Sergio? Like you can't hear it at all?
Maybe he's subconsciously not hearing the shaft on shaft stuff. And taking it.
Anybody else having any problems with the audio? Let me know.
Mrs. Fun said it sounded good.
Yeah, at the beginning, but
yeah,
it might be a volume thing. If I laugh too loud, it might have cut my audio out.
Does your audio do like an automatic like?
Yeah, it has like it has like a threshold. So like if I were to scream real loud right now, once it hits like a level, it'll mute me so it doesn't blow like speakers out or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let me know if you start hearing it go in and out. All right, Mrs. Fun. Not that I don't believe Sergio, but I just want to make sure before I start messing with the parameters in the middle.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Sergio says it's fixed now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it might have been when I laughed really loud. I know I probably killed the filter. Probably hit the threshold. So yeah, what have you been up to, other than watching old school?
I haven't seen that movie in 16 years, my friend. I was just doing what I do. You know, I mean, the movies don't stop, the television don't stop, and went to my first Cubs game in 3-4 years last week, and had one of the great days that I've had in some time. It was so much fun, and was there with my co-host from the Friendship Dilemma, Morgan Geyer, and Brian Tallarico, who I co-produce the Chicago Critics Film Festival with, and he brought his son for his first Cubs game.
Nice.
You know, and it was just, I mean, you know, well, you saw the picture. I mean, so
alcohol will do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll just say we had a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it goes along with the Sox one I did. It was the last one or the one before. Yeah, it had been a while. It's good to go back.
Yeah.
Like I said, it feels a little different because it's outdoors.
Yeah.
And if it's not like, it's not a Cubs Sox rivalry or a, Yankees Sox or a, whatever, a Cardinals Cubs game where there's going to be 9 billion people in there.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable going there then because there weren't people right next to me. You had a little bit of breathing room. You're outside. Then I'm cool.
Yeah, I mean, I admit that I brought masks with me. I didn't wear them during the game really, and we had good seats. We were sort of right behind and to the left of home plate. That's where we were sitting.
Nice.
Yeah. So I mean, there were people mostly all around us. But maybe that's where the alcohol helped a bit because I wasn't thinking about it so much. But we were just having such a good time. The game it wasn't a great game. It just, it was. If you're a fan of pitching, it was a great game. There was something like 28 combined strikeouts.
Oh Jesus!
In the game, yeah. So
that's a boring game.
It's not a great game. Just kind of, it was 2-1, and they went to extra innings. We left at the 9th inning. We walked down to the music box and played trivia. So
that's why I love when Super Bowl rolls around. It's like 2 of the best teams in the NFL, and it's like you're either going to get a game where someone screws up and there's 80 billion points.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, the defense sucks, or you get a game where the defenses are so good, and it's like 7-3 or 7-10, and people are like, this is boring, and it's like, yeah, because they're really good teams. Really good teams produce really boring games. for the most part.
There's definitely something to that, and given that we're from Chicago and the '85 Bears, like the greatest defense of all time, that was fun because our offense was good enough to just kick ass on top of everything. So we're winning outright, and the defense, and it's just great to watch that defense kick their ass. But yeah, 2 great defenses? No, not a fan.
It's almost better to have 2 crappy defenses.
Oh,
because then the offenses are just beating the hell out of each other the whole game.
It.
Yeah,
it's just maddening. Just throwing 80-yard bombs for the entire game, because no one's going to cover anyone.
It's a fake.
Yes.
Yeah, he's on his back. So
that's the bulk of what I've been doing mostly, and honoring.
I saw that.
Yeah. I did for the first time in my ever on television this week. I just wore this T-shirt.
Nice.
I've never just worn a T-shirt. I've always have a dress shirt on or something. But I said I'm gonna put this on today, and I got Time Bandits here.
For those who can't see, he's wearing a pretty badass Tron shirt with, of course, who on it?
David Warner.
Yeah.
Plays Sark in the movie. The guy that was, in many respects, the quintessential villain of that time.
Sure.
That he grew up with. It pretty much, at some point it went from like David Warner was like the bad guy in every movie, and then it became William Zabka. That was that was the transition that we had in the 80s. But Time Bandits, where he's the villain, but he's a hilarious villain in Time Bandits. And then Tron, he's more of a dick villain. Then you discover Time After Time a few years earlier, where he frickin' plays Jack the Ripper. And it just, and then, he's in The Omen. He has one of the great death scenes ever in The Omen. And then, years later, he gets cast in Titanic. David Warner shows up in Titanic.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's Billy Zane's right-hand man.
That's right.
Yeah. And it was just so cool to see him. We didn't know it at the time, but eventually became the biggest movie of all time at that period. And there's David Warner, and you just knew whenever he showed up, things were not going to be good.
He's a good bad guy. Yeah. How can he? There's certain guys that they get typecast as bad guys and they can never get out of it, and that's fine. Yeah. But when they acknowledge it and dive into it, and then they're always a bad guy and they're good at being a bad guy, how great is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, Time Bandits. Watched every time it was on cable. Time Bandits. I still love Time Bandits. And then Tron was the thing that I rented over and over and over again at the video store. And yeah, he was just the greatest, and passed away this week at the age of 80.
First
So,
movie to use 3D computer generated images and animation, limited.
yeah,
But yeah, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. It was a bummer. There was like 5 deaths this week. It was
Oh, it was
crazy.
crazy. Monday was crazy. Well, it was him, and then we lost Paul Sorvino a few hours
Yes.
later, right after that. So you got another guy that what can you say? I mean, and I met Paul Sorvino. He was at the Chicago Critics Film Awards the last time we actually had a big award ceremony for it, right before we started doing the festival the year before. And we gave him a lifetime achievement award thing, and so
wow.
he came there, and Jane Lynch actually tweeted, it's because Jane Lynch was one of the hosts that year, and she tweeted that that Paul Sorvino sang Danny Boy for her aunt at the awards. Not I don't remember it being. I don't think it was part of the show.
Sure.
I think it was something separate.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I interrupted Paul Sorvino in the middle of his meal to get a picture of my mom.
Well, you got to do that for Mom. Come on.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't know. He didn't seem too pleased having his meal interrupted. But
Sergio mentioned Straw Dogs. That I that's off my radar.
Straw Dogs is is an incredible movie. Early Dustin Hoffman, Sam Peckinpah. Never seen Straw Dogs?
No. On my list.
Oh, you should put it on your list. It's incredible. It's basically like a revenge home invasion type story where Dustin Hoffman is sort of like the meek guy that's married to the very beautiful woman, and all of the townsfolk are kind of catcalling her and all that kind of stuff. But he's sort of the powerless guy, in the scenario, and eventually it gets to a point where everyone just pisses off all one another, and it just becomes this all-out assault on the home at the end, and whether or not Hoffman can be the one to repel what's going on. It's
Weird.
I mean, it's right up your alley.
Okay.
It's
That's
really
on my
fantastic.
list.
Yeah.
Bob Rafelson and William Reichert were the directors.
Bob Rafelson did 5 Easy Pieces with Nicholson. That's the famous I want you to hold it between your knees, the lunch scene. That's the one that everyone references. Two filmmakers. It was Monday was not a good day. Yeah. The Hellscape took a few more.
Speaking of the Hellscape, so the whole reason for this podcast is we're in month 27 still, I believe, of the Nightmare Hellscape. And what this podcast, I started it, is for the uplifting of everybody who listens. We're going to try to talk about things that make us happy, bring us joy, make us smile. And we talk about 3, and then we add 1 at the end that we're looking forward to. So, like I always say, I'll do this before this. If you're watching on YouTube, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. By doing that, you'll get notifications when I post something. And if you hit the little bell, actually, that'll do the notifying. If you'll see the little bell there next to subscribe. If you're listening to this on iTunes, do me a favor, like the podcast. I believe it's called Follow now. Write a little review, add a little comment. Everything we're going to talk about, there's going to be notes in the YouTube video and on the iTunes audio down at the bottom. About everything we're talking about, a bunch of links. You can link out and watch little snippets of things we're talking about. But yeah, anything you could do to like and subscribe would be appreciated. So like I always say, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I think I will go first.
Okay.
Because I want to do a follow-up on several weeks ago. One of my looking forward to came to fruition, and that was the HBO docuseries The Last Movie Stars that Ethan Hawke put together about the careers and marriage of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. And it's a 6-part docuseries, 6 hours long, probably 6+ hours long actually, and Ethan Hawke hit a grand slam with this thing. It is phenomenal, and I think it's one of the events of this year. Just as far as anything being put together in any medium that I've seen,
Wow.
this thing, he nails it. And here's the setup of this thing is just a little miracle and some pretty amazing story in and of itself. In that one of Newman's children contacted Hawke and asked him to help put this together. And what happened is that years ago, Paul Newman had tasked a friend of his, who was the screenwriter of Rebel Without a Cause, tasked him to do interviews of all these people in his life, do interviews with him and Joanne and friends of theirs, famous friends, directors that they've worked with, get all this stuff, do cassettes. So they had all these cassettes, okay? And Hawke goes to do the project and finds out that Newman destroyed almost all of them years ago.
Why? I'm assuming that's part of this documentary that explain it.
It's never really explained why he did it. Kind of, he's a complicated guy in many respects. Not really sure why he did it, but they were all transcribed before they were destroyed. I think it's the Rebel Without a Cause, the screenwriter, transcribed all of the tapes. So they have basically scripts for these tapes. And so what Hawke did was get a number of his celebrity friends to read the scripts as if they're reading them off of the tape.
Wow.
And it's a brilliant stroke to do this, because everything just sort of blends in. So you hear the voices. I mean, this is not a uncommon documentary thing, especially like the letters home from Vietnam and all these things. People who have passed on, they get other people to read the stuff and do narration and things like that. But how do you cast Paul Newman? How do you cast Joanne Woodward?
You can't.
You almost can't, right? So you have to find someone who's going to at least have the kind of gravitas that you would expect Newman's voice and his own words to have, and he gets George Clooney to do it. You have George Clooney doing Paul Newman, you have Laura Linney doing Joanne Woodward, and you have other people doing directors and Gore Vidal and a whole bunch of people. Yeah. Someone doing Gore Vidal, not actually.
Oh, I was going to say.
He's gone. I think there might be some actual Gore Vidal clips
footage
there. There's definitely footage. Well, that's the other part of the whole spectrum of what's so great about this thing is that it's not quite entirely a chronological thing. It's kind of close. They don't get to Color of the Money and the later films until the end, but what they weave through how they met and the attraction to each other, and how when they really first got together, Joanne Woodward was the star in the household. She was the one getting the prime roles and winning the Oscar and all these things. And then Newman blew up. And then all of a sudden he's the one out there getting the fame and all this kind of stuff, and her roles kind of dried up. So she was basically put back into the house, to watch over the children and whatnot. And there's a lot more complicated stuff too, because she wasn't Newman's first wife, so there's complications with the children and stuff like that. And it's this great balance of showing what love and respect they had for each other, but also just how complicated the relationship was because of their careers, because of their personalities, because everyone wanted a piece of Paul Newman in so many respects. And And so it's a combination of that, going through their career, putting up something, not even necessarily the right clip sometime of the movie that they're talking about, but showing a clip from something else that reflects what's being talked about on the script of the tapes. So
From the interviews.
From the interviews, right? So they're all and it ends. There's the last couple clips that Hawk finds to put over the climax of this thing. It's a reminder of how masterful he had been doing it for 6 hours. And then on top of that, you also him like zooming with people like Sam Rockwell and Vincent D'Onofrio and a whole bunch of people. Scorsese's in here talking about doing The Color of Money and then geeking out about other films and Newman stuff too. But talking about just like them watching Newman and how them growing up as an actors and studying Newman and appreciating everything that he had done, and like you hear them talk about it, just like, God damn, I gotta go watch a Paul Newman movie now, because the guy was just unbelievable. And it's for 6 hours. I sat there just glued to everything that was going on, and I will say that it took a toll on me, because it's not always roses and puppy dogs,
Even the George Carlin one, a lot of times, the good thing about a documentary is you get to learn a lot more. The bad thing about the documentary is you get to learn a lot more.
Yeah.
The things just like every relationship. You think they're movie stars and glamorous and everything else, and it's not always perfect.
No, and there's a lot of sadness in here, and there's a lot of stuff in here that's so intimate. Some of the things that Newman was putting on these tapes back at the time that are so intimate, you almost don't know if you should be listening to it. It's really just kind of like, oh boy, this is like diary level type stuff that I'm almost intruding on listening to this.
Maybe that's why he erased them.
Maybe it may be, but I mean, again, there's a whole thing about the complicated relationship he had with his son, who had substance abuse problems, and how Newman himself was a functioning alcoholic, basically, and how he ultimately put that so much of that into the verdict from 1982. Which, have you ever seen The Verdict? He plays the lawyer.
If I have, it's been so long
Yeah.
that I don't really remember it.
Well, Paul Newman and David Mamet script, so there you go.
There, okay.
Incredible movie, one of his all-time great performances, and he's playing an alcoholic in that. And when you see like him talking, hear what him talking about it, or other people talking about living with him or being around him at that time, and then Hawk showing the clips of the little things that he was doing as a functioning alcoholic. He's like, these are the only kind of things an alcoholic would know.
Huh.
These little things in here.
Wow.
And yeah, but again, and then it's sad. I realize the one thing that's missing. If there's one thing that's missing in here, and it could be there's got to be some explanation for it. Redford is not represented. He's not on camera. He's not there talking about it. Him and Newman were good friends till the end. And I think there's some old stuff on Butch Cassidy and the Sting, but there's not. I mean, and Redford had the show on Sundance Channel called Iconoclasts, that he did a whole episode with just him and Newman. That was unbelievable. That, if you can find that, I think that might be on YouTube. That alone is just a great hour to spend with these two guys. But so he's not so much represented, but there's sadness, there's happiness. You get the whole bit about all the stuff that he did with the charity, with the Newman products.
They still sell all that stuff, and I think
Yes.
almost all of that money, I think it was part of his will. Anything over and above like operating costs.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this isn't bad, so I don't know if I get it wrong. Oh well, it's nice, but it's a majority of that money goes to charity. So I don't even think his family sees any of that. His name is now forever with it, and whatever money is, it just goes to charity.
It was started by his daughter, and a lot of that money at the time was going to a treatment there was a part of the money was going to keep this treatment center
Oh,
that was there as a result of his son, that they put together and they opened together. So a lot of money went to that. There was a point where he talking about on Letterman said they had raised like however long he had been doing it. And Letterman's on camera too, talking about him talking to Newman about it and how he actually went to one of the facilities that the Newman products was keeping open, and Letterman talked about how he went there and just started crying because of how amazing it was.
The two of them also had another interest that they shared, which was racing.
Yeah.
Letterman had his team, and Newman has his team as well. They were, as a matter of fact, Sergio probably knows, because I think it was open wheel racing, which Sergio's a fan of. I think both of their teams were open wheel race cars, F1 and the other open wheel one. And he was a huge racer, and he used to race Newman. Whether you like Adam Carolla or not, he did a documentary about Newman's race car driving.
Yes,
he has one of Newman's old race cars that he rehabbed and made look new. He has it. He became a big friend of his towards the end, and he has his race car from, but it's like an older one. It's not one of the newer F1 cars. But he was he used to take the old cars out on the track and stuff on his own. He was a huge race guy.
Well, there's a reason why Days of Thunder exists.
Oh, there you go.
He got Cruise interested in racing when they were doing Color of Money, and Cruise is not represented either so much in the movie. I guess you don't want to take the focus off him, but I thought I thought that he might show up towards the end, or Redford would show up, but no, Scorsese kind of shows up and takes care of everybody. But the Newman stuff, which it's a little bit more expensive, but if I see like it costs like 50 cents more than what's on sale, I still get the Newman stuff. We get the mostly the spaghetti sauce and the pasta stuff. It's hard to find the lemonade around here.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the lemonade. But the thing that started it all was the popcorn.
Right.
The popcorn was his deal.
Yeah. And so they talk about all of that and all the good that is done. And great people can be complicated. Great, talented people can be complicated. And it's a reminder that not everyone's perfect. But, you do the best you can. You hope you leave a legacy about it. And it's not just new. This is an equally calibrated thing between him and Joanne Woodward.
I was just going to ask about that. Yeah,
there's a whole lot. It's pretty much maybe not split right down the middle, but there's a lot of stuff about Joanne Woodward. Movies that were like hard to find are put in there, and it just kind of makes you want to go back and watch their stuff. They did 18 movies together.
That's crazy.
18 movies together. Yeah. So the last movie stars. It is streaming right now on HBOMax. It's six parts. They're about an hour 50 to 70 minutes long each, and it is absolutely worth every minute of your time if you can see it.
Yeah, that's one of those.
That made me very happy.
And that's like a total of about 5.5, 6 hours total viewing. Yeah.
Easiest. About as easy as 6 hours as you're gonna find it, because it's just it's dreamlike. It's just you just kind of sit there and you just feel like you're in a daze watching this in a good way.
Sure. I may throw one on after this before I jump in bed. So
the first hour will hook you. You'll be screwed. No.
Yeah, well, see, this sounds bad to say. He's a guy that I always liked seeing, but he was never a guy that's like, oh, it's a Redford thing, I gotta watch Redford, which is sad because I know how awesome he is and how much everybody loves him. Mm-hmm. It's not that I dislike him at all. Yeah. No movie I've ever watched with him. Again, a lot of his stuff is the older stuff that I haven't gone back to watch. So it would have been, mid 80s forward, maybe Verdict, if I can even remember, which I can't.
Right.
To, later. I liked him. Best one from The Terrace, says Sergio.
Yeah.
Color Money is fantastic. So again, it's not that I dislike him. It's just,
right.
So even if people, don't know him, it's interesting to see that stuff.
Another great later Paul Newman film from 1994 called Nobody's Fool. It's a beautiful movie.
What's
Funny.
that one about?
It's he plays a older guy who's wasn't a great father, but now might be a better grandfather kind of thing, and still working in the town, clashes with a lot of people, but has many friends. Bruce Willis is in the movie.
Okay.
Uncredited Bruce Willis in the movie. Not just a a decent part in the movie. Melanie Griffith, Jessica Tandy, Philip Seymour Hoffman, early role. Great movie.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Nobody's Fool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the kind of the movie that gives you the feels. Really does.
My number one isn't nearly as I don't want to use the word ostentatious because that's not the right word. Sentimental. How about there? Sentimental.
That's good.
Yeah.
Is it not Restricted?
Is it what? Destricted? Yes. It involves a drive shaft and a sack. That's what it. Yeah. No.
Like a country song.
They took my drive shaft. In this case, it's Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Have you begun watching it yet?
No, I have not. I've had the last couple of weeks has been finishing some series and starting some new ones. This week has been like pilot week in my house, and I've just been watching news. Just like I watched this first episode, and Miss Marvel might still make the cut. That was on the list.
It's I would say the Disney TV stuff has been okay, a little bit better than okay. I'm not saying it's Twilight, Blaze, and The Verdict, which we mentioned.
Blaze is a movie I like.
Sergio's recommending some other Newman movies. One of them being Twilight, one of them being Blaze, and then The Verdict, which we mentioned. Yeah. I was interested in the show, Miss Marvel. Obviously, anything Marvel related, I'm on right away. I want to watch it. This, for whatever reason, I didn't jump on it right away. I heard both good and bad things. We began watching it. We did a catch up. Mrs. Fun hadn't seen Spider-Man: No Way Home, hadn't seen Doctor Strange, and then obviously Miss Marvel was on, and it was already like over, or the last episode was coming on that week or whatever. So we ripped through all of it. And so we're watching the show, and I have to preface this with this is supposed to be a very positive podcast, but I have to preface it with from the get-go, this character was always going to have a rough start. She had a rough start in the comics because A, she's Muslim, or a Middle Eastern background. People took it as Marvel all of a sudden becoming political. Yeah, completely forgetting the fact that on the cover of Captain America, he's punching out Hitler. People didn't like it. It's people have their own view on, well, you're taking a character I like and you're maybe changing the gender, or you're changing the nationality, or you're changing the background, or I don't like that you're changing the origin again for the fourth time, or whatever, tweaking it slightly. It's another thing is this character came out of nowhere. They had people of a similar background write it. They created a whole new character, and they made her, at the times of all these MCU movies coming out, at the beginning, 12 at this point, 12 years ago, she was a fangirl of the heroes, kind of like people who hadn't really known about Marvel guys. You start watching the movies, you become a fan of all this stuff, and she played that part of a girl living in that universe, being a person of color, and in our country being, Middle Eastern, was an interesting take. And she's a teenager. So you have the teenager stresses like a Spider-Man. You have stuff that you weren't going to get with Spider-Man. Being a girl. Being Middle Eastern. Being, this wasn't a mistake. It was a birthright. It was something she was supposed to always maybe end up being. And so you got a lot of backlash. And for years, people were being ridiculous. Well, yeah, that's a big sigh. People became, ingratiated, I think I'm using that word wrong. She ingratiated herself into, being a well-liked character in the comic books. Well, the TV show comes out, and of course, immediately, people are all over it again, Yeah. So the good part is that the people that the show was for, I was hearing a lot of good things. People of different Middle Eastern backgrounds. From what I believe, a portion of the people making the shows, at least again by my ignorance, the names that were being shown in a lot of the credits, appeared to be people of possible Middle Eastern descent, and stuff. And so they wrote the character with a lot of love of things that I know nothing about. I don't know what it's like being an Indian person or a Middle Eastern person. I don't know what it's like being a girl. And they show this. I'm talking it up a lot. I didn't love the show, but we really enjoyed it. And it was a very interesting take. You don't see a lot of Middle Eastern superheroes. And it's this girl, it's just this nice teenage girl that just wants to be liked. What's like grown up in a Middle Eastern household and just loving the Avengers. And like the first 2 episodes is her trying to convince her mother, because she's 16 and a girl, and mom is very strict and doesn't want her going. Outside by herself or with a boy. You get a lot of that, but in shows about being a girl. But in this case, it was also, I think, a little bit of, where are you going? We don't want you out there by yourself. We don't want, in sort of a protective role for maybe other reasons. And one of the first things she does is she goes to an Avengers convention in the cinematic universe, because now they're merchandised and people love them and they want to go to a convention and cosplay as them and all this stuff. And it was just really cute. It was cute and fun. And, when it comes to, we recently just demolished the 4th Thor movie. I did not enjoy it at all.
Yep.
This show was kind of about being cute and silly. And so people are like, well, you just don't like cute and silly stuff. Well, A, that's stupid. But B, that's literally what this show was meant to be. If you're a teenager or a teenage girl or Middle Eastern, representation is very important. This I would imagine if I was their age, this would be right up my alley. And that's what all it was. And I enjoyed it for that. So when people are like, well, you should have enjoyed Thor just for what it was supposed to, it's just supposed to be silly. This is supposed to be silly and fun, and that's what it was, and that's what I knew going into it was supposed to be. And I really enjoyed it. They did some tweaking of her background. They gave her some, a bracelet that may or may not be something from the comics, people are theorizing, and they made her at the end, they reveal, I don't think there's spoilers for anybody, but they just sort of mention like, oh, we found out there's something wrong with your genes. There's a mutation. Okay. She's supposed...
Again.
The what?
Midichlorians again.
Midichlorians, yeah. But that's supposedly the first mutant in the MCU. They're going to go... Because she's an Inhuman in the comic books.
Okay.
Black Bolt... that you've now met, Black Bolt from the movie. She's a race of Inhumans. In this case, she may or may not be a mutant that can harness the Djinn powers, or Jinn, the magical genie powers of that they use as sort of the background of her powers in this show. They create a decent villain, and it's about community. Again, I'm not going to tell you you should watch this and you're going to be dazzled. I'm not going to be like, you got to watch this. This is the best Marvel TV show that's ever been made. But it's really fun, and if you have teenagers or people who kind of like the sillier side of the Marvel universe or the less, tragic, like Infinity War and Endgame, which are my favorites, or, Winter Soldier, this is perfect. It's perfect for Disney Plus. It's perfect for, the second generation of Marvel fans, in their teens or late teens. I think I just think they did a really good job.
Well, that's cool, because that's what I've heard mostly about the show, is that exactly the way you just describe it, and that's why people are liking it, because it's just fun, and I mean that's the word I keep hearing describing it, and I'm down with that. I just haven't gotten a chance. I've been catching up on a whole bunch of other shows. It's on my list, and they're probably only half-hour episodes. Right?
I want to say those might be an hour, but there's only 6 of them.
Okay. Well, yeah, right. I knew there was only 6 of them. Okay. Yeah, I've really been enjoying half-hour programs lately. I'll just say that. They just go by, and it's wonderful. It's like, you want to watch another one? Sure. 5, 6, 7. Let's keep going. We finished the whole show. Yeah, so no, I'm definitely going to get to it. Yeah, because you have to.
Well, yeah, and see, in this case, it'll be very interesting. We talked about on your podcast, Movie Madness podcast. We talked about Thor, and when we were talking about it, that one not so much. It was just we didn't like the tonal shift. It's a lot about death and vengeance, and then let's throw some stupid, silly jokes in there, and it didn't make any sense to us. Doctor Strange, however, our big complaint with that was you had to have seen WandaVision for Doctor Strange 2 to make any sort of sense.
Right.
And they didn't. They were purposely keeping it away that something might be up with Wanda in the movie, but they didn't let you know, like, hey, you better watch the TV show.
Yeah.
They're not probably going to do that with the Marvels, Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels, either. But this, without ruining anything, this very much leads right into potentially the movie when it comes out next year, the Marvels, which will have Miss Marvel from the TV show, Captain Marvel from the movies, and then the Captain Marvel or Photon character from WandaVision.
Paris?
Yeah. Remember how she ends up kind of having powers at the end and she flies away or whatever, and she's a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She's another Captain Marvel Photon character.
And she was the little girl in Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah, she's the daughter where they're joking around with the suit colors and she's playing with them. Yeah, it turns out that's her. So yeah, it's going to be a whole thing about the Marvels, but in this case, it very much leads into it. So it'll be interesting to see if they push the Miss Marvel stuff in the previews, or if they pull a Doctor Strange 2 and it's like, oh, I saw the movie. It's like, well, remember what happened to Miss Marvel? And it's like, well, I didn't watch that. Yeah. It'll be kind of interesting to see if it's as integral, because you don't necessarily need to know. They just have to reference it's Miss Marvel and she has powers, and then they start the movie.
Right.
So it's not as integral as what happened in Doctor Strange 2, because that was just silly. But yeah, it's a fun time. Again, I'm not going to say it's the best, but if you like that Disney stuff and you want to see more Marvel stuff, it's a fun time.
Okay, good deal. Okay, for my number 2, I'm going to bump this up to number 2.
Okay.
Actually. It might seem a little anticlimactic if I make it number 3. This is not normally the kind of thing that I would bring up on the show, but it's just something that's made me happy recently, and I'm really late to the game on this kind of thing too. But you've been made fun of for many years based on the size of my wallet.
Yes.
That I've had a Costanza wallet for a good portion.
Oh, you have? What would you say? I would say easily, if you measured the denseness, the sideways, the depth of it,
it
was easily 1.25 inches, possibly 1.5 inches.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised you don't have back issues. Seriously, it was that ridiculous.
Well, funny you should mention, because I have had, and it's been an on and off kind of thing for the last couple of years. I'm assuming it's like a sciatic nerve type issue, and it's kind of been aggravated with, putting the nephew on my lap on one side of my lap, and also lifting a lot of boxes during moving and stuff like that. And it's been it got re-aggravated within the last month a little bit, because I was just doing a lot of stuff around the house. And it's just, I'm looking at this wallet, and I was like driving one day with the pain right where that is, and I'm like, what the frick, this this shit. I pulled the wallet out and whatnot, and just took it out of my pants, and I'm like, I can't go with this anymore. So I finally invested.
Did you get it rich?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I finally got one, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I have to say that, it's taking a little bit getting used to, finding the right card sometimes and in the thing and whatnot, because you open it up like this kind of thing. But it's not that much different than the wallet. Sometimes the card's buried behind 2 other cards or stuff like that. And I'm just like, well, I don't need all of my Vegas promo cards with me everywhere I go. Nope. I do have a thing where I like to have stuff with me so I know that I have it. That's been one of my things as well. But I got this, and my only problem now is remembering to bring this, because I don't bring the wallet anymore. And here's the wallet, by the way.
You're gonna keep it sentimental? You're gonna frame it?
I might put it on the wall there in the back.
Just take a nail and drive it through it.
Exactly. Yeah. Son of a bitch. But yeah, just like one time I walked out of the house without this. I'm like, oh shit, But now I just know this is my wallet, and take it with me. So it's not, again.
Well, don't you keep it with your keys? Where do you keep your wallet that you? Well,
I have a thing, a key holder by the door, so I usually keep the keys there. But I usually keep this with like my masks now, so I don't leave the house without the masks. So I got that all together now too. So, but yeah, and I'll give a little plug here. I didn't get this for free. I bought this, so I'm just hit your button. But considering that's who I got it from. So if you're looking for one of these, this is working out very nice.
Nice.
So yeah, so that. Making me happy.
And what is it? Maybe how many cards you think you got in there now?
Like 10.
Yeah. See.
How
much crap did you throw out of your wallet?
Hold on.
You got. Yeah. Look at that. That's what, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch.
Yeah. Pretty much. I got like I said, I got my I shouldn't put up the number, but like my rewards cards in Vegas that are all in here. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of those. My Chicago Film Critics membership card.
Don't leave home without it.
Come to your Exxon station for your free Save the Tiger poster.
Yeah, hey. What are you gonna do without that?
That's a Seinfeld joke, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because Jerry's going through George's wallet. And he's just pulling out cards, and he goes, "Bring this to one of your local Exxon station
because he has
the Tiger poster."
He had a crazy wallet.
George, yeah, that's what we called this. This is the Costanza wallet. Yeah, I think you and Dan, our friend Dan, used to call it that. And it wasn't always like that. I would take stuff out of it, when I needed it, but at some point you just stop taking stuff out and just keep putting stuff in. So it wasn't nearly as bad as Costanza's. You go back and look at what he had in there, and he had like hard candy and all kinds of crap in there.
It wasn't that far off, though. You'd have to admit it was pretty close.
Well, I mean, in the modern universe of people we knew who had any wallets or this or whatever it might be, yeah, it was the closest thing on record to a Costanza wallet amongst any of us.
Yeah.
So this is now all I need. Hopefully I don't forget my Vegas cards when next time I go to Vegas.
I coincidentally I had been threatening to get a Ridge style wallet for a while, and so I was hoping they would have a sale. I didn't. They have like titanium ones and ones with like lava rock in them and all that crap. And I'm like, they look neat, but I'm not paying $150 for a plastic wallet.
I think I paid $20.
So Mrs. Fun knew, I'd been threatening to get one. I'm like, oh, they had a sale, and then I'll look, and it's, it's not. You have to buy 4 items, to get the 10% off or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. And coincidentally, she happened to be out this weekend with a friend, and they stopped by a store, and they had I think it's Michael Kors. He's one of these fashion people, but they had one like on a discount on sale, blah, 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 blah. And in essence, it's almost that exact same wallet you have that looks just like a Ridge wallet that does the exact same thing with the elastic bands. And so she got it for me. I think it was like $20. And I immediately was like, great. Tore half of the stuff out because I just had like an aluminum clip. Tin or aluminum.
I've seen people with just the clip, like the money clip type thing.
Yeah.
That I never, when people would show that to me, that I didn't just care for. I don't like just having a clip and you put the cards in the clip. I don't like that.
Well, the funny part is it worked like 85-90% of the time because you'd put, I think it fit like 10 cards on either side. So you could actually have up to probably anywhere from 16 to 20 cards. Anyway, the funny part is after you had them in there for a while, the aluminum would loosen just a little bit. So if you take like 2 of those cards out to use them, whatever, the rest of the cards would just slide around. They want to fall out, and then it became useless. But to just keep them and throw it in your pocket, I switched from a wallet like in high school. I mean, I haven't had a wallet in 30 years. But I would always keep stuff in my front pocket. Well, things got bulky like that, and that's when that aluminum thing was great. I've probably had that thing for 10, 12 years till she got me that. It's literally almost the exact same thing you just showed. Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
The only thing it doesn't do is hold coins, but who the hell has coins anymore?
Well, that's what a pocket's for. If you have coins, you put it in your pocket, and you take them out, you put it in your bank or your tin can or whatever when you get home.
The second I have coins now, at this point, I just hold them in my hand till I get to the cart, and I throw them right in the cup holder.
Speaking
I don't even hold them.
Coins, like this is.
There you go.
My coins are.
Yeah, gotta get a big, giant bowling pin bank.
Yeah, what do you use?
I have a aluminum R2-D2.
Just as good.
The dome is the top. You pop it off, and it's just baked aluminum can, basically, with the coins in it. You just pop the top back on. You put the coins in his head.
Right.
Of course, I have an R2-D2 bank. I mean, come on.
Of course.
But yeah, that's full because we were saving up for a road trip, so we were only throwing quarters in there, and so you're like, oh, this will be like our gas money, kind of thing. And, well, that's full. So now there's just a dish of coins next to R2-D2. It's got all the rest. Because you can't hold, they're so useless. Coins are so silly. I love how everyone wants to fight to keep the penny. Oh, we got to have the penny. And it's like, yes, I understand the sentimental value of having a penny, but they're not even fully copper anymore.
Right.
I think they said that they did the economics of it. It actually costs more to make the penny than the penny's actually worth. Yeah, see, there you go. Who the hell carries pennies with them anymore?
This was my wish, my dream, and I'm taking it back. Taking them all back.
I don't get the fascination. It cracks me up. We can't lose the penny. Yeah, you can. Everything ends in a 5. Done. That's it. We're done.
The coolest coin, period, is in Canada. It's a $2 coin.
Is that the loon?
I don't know what it's a $2 coin.
Okay.
It's a coin that's worth $2.
I do, in my I think I transferred it over. My grandfather every year would give me $2 bills.
Yeah. Oh, I got. Yeah.
So I have a whole bunch of $2
Yeah.
bills, and I have one folded for good luck. I throw it in with my stuff, so I keep them with me all the time. So
Yeah.
I think I even gave one to Mrs. Fun, so I think she has one in her wallet.
Did she think it was fake?
No. No. I would love to try to pass one now, though. Because, like, and I'm not one of these guys that's like, kids are so dumb. They don't know what it's like from 30 years ago. That's so stupid. But, like, seriously, when's the last time you saw a $2 bill? Trying to pass one at a store now? Because I think you can still get them new. But even then, they were around 10 years ago. I know for a fact because I got a few. Try to take an actual legal $2 bill and go to the store and try to give it to a cashier. People would look at you like you're crazy. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. That and the full Kennedy was the dollar? Or was the Liberty dollar? The 50-cent... No, Kennedy was a 50-cent piece, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then there was the... what was the gold dollar coin? The Native American.
You're making us look bad here.
I know. I feel like an ass.
I never had it, so.
See, now I gotta do it. But those coins were cool.
The doubloon?
No, I can't think of. It was her name. See, now we're gonna have to find this. Sacagawea dollar. That's what that was called, because that was, I believe, that was her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was another dollar. Those were always cool when those would come around. No, because we're talking about wallets, but like, the Kennedy was the $50, right? $50, and then there was maybe the bicentennial was the dollar. The 7.
Mm-hmm. I think that's right.
50 cents was the Kennedy $50. I have a bunch of, not a bunch. I have a few of those. And then what was the other dollar coin? American dollar coin. Let's see. I gotta see now. It's gonna drive me crazy now. Silver dollar.
Yeah.
What you got? You got one?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you got they called it the Morgan dollar, the Peace dollar, Eisenhower dollar. That's probably the one you have, right? It was Eisenhower on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Eisenhower dollar. The bicentennial, 1974 $50 and dollar coins underwent a design. Bicentennial. Yeah, I think there's a. Yeah, there's a bicentennial, I think. Dollar. Anyway, those are always cool. Now that you say that, because you talk about the $2, but I have that little $2 bill stuck with my stuff. That's cool. And we got one the same week. What are the What's the odds of that?
Yeah.
Wallet renovations.
That's right.
So my praise of Xbox Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
And the Netflix style that they've gone to with that service is fantastic. It gets you to play games you probably never would have played. And everybody who has it, it makes it easy. Like, hey, what do you want to play? Well, if everybody has Game Pass, you can just hit a button and download it, and you're all playing. You don't have to go like, well, I didn't buy it yet, or I didn't do this yet. And one of the things that Mrs. Fun likes is I showed her as a joke these simulator games. There's a whole industry. There's Flight Simulator, which is obviously the most amazing one. Microsoft's flight simulators become legendary, but they've also gone through the trouble of making silly, I call them silly, but because it's basically manual labor. Like the game is manual labor. farming simulator, construction simulator, carpenter simulator, bus simulator. Like it's like, okay, you drive a bus. So there's a map of a city, and you literally go from bus stop to bus stop, and you drive the little bus, and you have to stop on the line, and you have to hit the button to open the doors and greet the people, and then you drive to the next bus stop. I never understood the the fun with it. I guess there's a piece to it because it's sort of mundane and you're just sort of doing the same thing. There's no, I understand it's not versus someone and there's no real objective. There's no bad guy involved. That's cool. Like, that's cool. All games are good, you know, for in their time and space. But this, I want to be a farmer. Okay, like, if you make it fun, like she plays Animal Crossing with the little chibi animal guys, like, it's cute, it's got a little story, and you do a little bit of flower farming and stuff, so it's, you know, there's farming in it. But, like, Farming Simulator, straight up Farming Simulator.
Yeah.
You have a field, and you plow it, then you seed it, then you let it grow, then you go to the next field, and while that one's growing, and the seasons change, and you're driving to go pick up more fertilizer, and then you're spraying fertilizer, and then you're driving to the store to get more, and then you have different pieces of equipment that you can upgrade. And it's, if you have a field, you literally have to drive the tractor in a straight line and cut the corn up and throw it into a baler thing. Because if you miss it, now you have a line of corn there that you miss, so you got to go back. It's very mundane. And one of our mutual friends and I played Farming Simulator just to play because you could do multiplayer. So he was driving the truck next to me while I'm plowing, and then my little arm, you know, shoots the corn into the, like, baling truck, or, you know, like a truck. And then he would drive off and empty it, and I'd stop, and then he'd come back, and then he'd drive next to me while I'm it's silly. It's just silly. But one of the ones that came up recently, and again I showed it to her as a joke, was something called Powerwash Simulator. Yeah.
As someone who's been putting off doing an annual power wash right now,
Yeah.
there's a game.
Yeah. There's a house renovation one she plays, which she likes. So that's more like, this house is dirty. You go in, you want to rearrange it or paint the walls a kind of color. So it's sort of like interior design. Like that kind of part of it makes sense to me. In The Sims, you can do a lot of that, where you got the little people and you make your own little house and put them in it and stuff. This is just literally like you go to a house and you go, I don't like this wall. I'm going to knock this wall down. I'm going to make it a double bedroom here, and I'm going to do this with the living room, and you can build countertops. That's more like, and she loves interior design. So it's kind of, since she's not an interior designer, like that process I get, right? But, so I showed her, like, hey, why don't you have Power Wash? Yes, Sergio. Power Wash Simulator. And so literally I go, hey, you want to get this when it comes out? It's going to be free on Game Pass. And she's like, what? And I showed her the trailer. Sure enough, it's like a first-person shooter. So you have the spray nozzle for the Power Wash handle in your hand. And the very first thing you do is they make you wash your Power Wash company van. It's dirty, and you have to wash all the dirt off of it. And once you do, you get your friend goes, hey, man, Bob down the street, you know, I told him you're reopening your business. Now, what is that? The trailer will be in here, Sergio, but I'm going to personally send it to you. I'll do it right now.
I'll explain it to him while you're talking.
What are you doing?
I'll explain it to him while you're talking. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the Power Wash thing and send it to you. It is. You know, they tell you, like, oh, you know, you did your van, you know, Bob down the street says he wouldn't mind you coming and, you know, doing his house for him or whatever. And so that's what you do. You then go to this person's house. Says, well, my backyard's all messy. Go deal with that. So you go in his backyard and you power wash his backyard for him. His walking stones, his lawn furniture, the grill, and then you get money for the job, and you can upgrade your power washing gear, and it's silly, but I said when we get it, let's play it. I'm gonna send you the trailer right now, Sergio. go ahead and have a watch of that.
Yeah.
So it's mundane work, but in a weird way. So it even as multiplayer, up to 6 people can be in the same environment power washing stuff. So she's like, we should play that together when it comes out. So just for the sake of argument, this week it came out. We booted it up, and I joined her little power washing thing, and we power washed a backyard together, and it's ridiculous. It's just the sound of water hitting siding or roof tiles or cement, and you can even hear, like, you know, if she's to my right, you know, in the house with the 5.1 and stuff going off, you can hear her to my right, or, you know, she can hear me to her left, and you can hear, like, if I move the power washer to wash the dirt off the siding, you can kind of hear it hit the aluminum siding. It's got a little different tone, and we just sort of sat there in silence and power washed this yard. It's the most ridiculous thing, but it was almost weirdly relaxing.
I was just gonna use the word therapeutic.
It really was. It almost put us to sleep.
You know what? And you know why? You know why?
Why?
It's not the noise. It's not like it's putting you some sort of hypnosis or something like that. It has nothing to do with that. It's because there's a sense of accomplishment that comes with it. And that's the thing, is like, you know that to power wash, like when we moved into the new house, the front stoop, our front porch area hadn't been taken care of in years. Okay, so it was just grime and dirt, and you know, and I just power washed the shit out of the sidewalk, and it looked like I put in brand new gravel.
Sure.
You know, that's how awesome it is. And like by the end of it, like, I don't even smoke. I want to have like a cigarette on the porch and just like sit there like, look what I just did. You know? And I'm sure it's the same way with the game, that there's a sense of accomplishment in knowing that you get every little speck. You know, there's something anal about it.
Very, very good. The other thing I was going to add to that was it's a sense of control in especially in a time, but even, you know, work, life, money, everything is so out of control. You sit and you have small goals, like they always tell you to do. If you have a big goal, chop it up into little goals, and then try to get the little goals, and eventually, you know, and that's what it even dings when you do each individual thing. So say you have the backyard. Say you do all the walking stones. It has a little progress bar, and when you hit, say there's 12 of them, if you hit the 12th one and you power wash it, it gives you a little ding of satisfaction. It gives you a little bit of money. And it's so, as you say, there's 50 things to fully wash.
Yeah.
Every time, ding, you get another one. Like, oh, I did the grill for her in the backyard she was in.
Yeah.
So I walked over and I power washed the grill under it, the side and everything. She can hear the ding go off where I am, and she gets a little bit of money because we're a team cleaning the backyard together. And so you get these little dings of satisfaction, these little bitty increments of, like you said, progress or completion or whatever. But also, in this case, you're outside in the game. You're outside, so you get the birds chirping. All you hear is the white noise of the water hitting stuff. And I seriously, after about 40 minutes, we're talking. We're not like, you know, comatose on the couch, but like we're talking, having a conversation. But as this white noise is going off, we both look at each other like, we might go to bed early. We're tired. Like the noise, it was just this consistent low hum white noise of the thing. And so as absolutely silly and ridiculous as a power washing game can be, there was something weirdly fun about it. It has no right to be as fun as it was. It's the stupidest when you say it on paper. You go, do you like doing manual labor? No. Do you want to power wash something right now? You want to get wet? No. Do you want to do it for like an entire day? No. Okay. Here's a game. You can sit for 2 hours and power wash a backyard with your friends.
Yeah.
No, this is dumb. And then you play it and you're like, that's kind of satisfying.
Yeah.
So, hey, Sergio, I sent you that link. Did you watch the trailer? I'm curious what he says. But Yeah, it's silly, and it's I've been singing the praises of Game Pass for weeks. I mean, ever since it came out, it's just a fantastic idea. And would I have ever paid to own or to download Powerwash Simulator?
No,
never in a million years. Would I have bought 2 copies so that she could play and I could play? Never in a million years. The fact that it's on Game Pass, it's just brilliant. And they did an article with the guys that do the guys that made the Powerwash Simulator, and they had said Microsoft's not paying me for this.
Yeah,
could not have been cooler for this 5 or 10 guy studio doing this thing. They said it was nothing but a blessing. It was it was fantastic for them to get their game out. Tons of people downloaded it on day one because it's so silly. It's I'm just gonna power wash this car, and you could just do it for free. They get money from it because it's on Game Pass, but they probably never would have gotten that many eyes on their software because of it's such a silly idea, as they did by basically being quote free to you and me.
right.
But to them, it might make them a less money than if I bought a full copy, but they're still making their money. And it's the fact that it's we did it together. Very few games. She's not gonna play Halo with me or whatever. And Animal Crossing, you really can't do anything together in the game. But this is funny. You see your little guy walking around the backyard, hitting the flower pots or the swing and stuff, and I'm over by the grill. And we're just sitting chatting on the couch while we're doing it. It was a really fun time and silly goofiness that I think would bring a lot of joy. And you're on Game Pass. We need to do a big 6-player. They have a giant park.
Yeah.
A backyard is a backyard, but Audubon, the park or whatever.
Uh-huh.
It's massive, right? They have that's a level similar to that in the game.
Yeah.
And you can have up to 6 people. So we should get you on there and Sergio on there and us on there. And we'll get a couple other people and we'll run around and we'll power wash a park together.
Can you power wash each other?
You can shoot each other with the controller vibrates. So if you shoot me, my controller will vibrate a little bit. Yeah.
Wow.
It's silly. It's a silly, fun time. And again, if you're a Game Pass person, it's free. I'm not quite sure. You can download it on PC. It's been out on PC for months. PC, I think it's on PlayStation as well. But yeah, it costs you nothing if you already have Game Pass. So download it, power wash something.
Time.
The what?
Nothing but time.
That's right. They have they even have little fun levels you have a career you do. You see upgrade your equipment.
Yeah.
Don't have the link, Sergio. But yeah, you can see that one of the special levels, in the box, is the Mars rover. So I don't know what that entails. We haven't done one of those levels yet.
Yeah.
It's not part of the career, I guess, unless they shoot you into space to go watch the Mars rover. But it looks like the Mars rover. So dumb, but it's great.
Is there a carnival level? I want to power wash a carnival.
I have no idea. We're at level. So what do? We did the first one's your van. Second one is a backyard. Third one was. She got to the third one. A house. The whole house is filthy. So you're doing the whole, outside of the house, the chimney, the roof thing. You can even put little ladders up so you can climb up on the roof and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Power washing.
Power washing. I'm going to send it to you again, Sergio. I already sent you the link on the text. Text, not email. In case you're checking your email.
You may have inspired me to do the real thing this weekend.
To power wash?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I play when I got it right here. I can just.
So, yeah. So what's your third?
My third. I wanted to finish with this one because I was until yesterday. This wasn't on my list, and it's something I want to put on everyone's radar. It is a movie, and it is coming out in theaters this weekend. Yes, I can talk about it. Reviews are already out there, but one of the biggest surprises of the year opens this weekend that I just saw yesterday. And it's a movie called Vengeance. And this is the movie written, directed, and starring BJ Novak from The Office.
Really?
Yeah, you don't even seem familiar
No.
with this. That's okay. So that's how low radar this apparently is coming in this weekend. Focus Features is releasing it. You know, that not always, they're a smaller company. Sometimes they're not, don't have their movies everywhere. It's getting a wide release as far as I know. So it's going to be out there. But here's the premise of the movie. BJ Novak plays a writer for the New Yorker, and he gets a call one night from the brother of this woman that he saw a couple of times. They went out a few times when she was living in New York, and the brother, played by Boyd Holbrook, tells him that she has died of an apparent opioid overdose, and wants him to come to the funeral in Texas. Okay. And he goes along with it, doesn't want to upset him further, and goes down there, and it comes to him that, you know, he only saw this girl a couple of times. His family is all under the belief that they really knew each other, that they really had a connection. And the brother basically is bringing him down there to seek out what happened to her, because he doesn't believe that she died of an overdose. So the Novak's character pitches this as a podcast, a true crime podcast, to Issa Rae, who plays his editor back in New York. She agrees to do it, and so he starts interviewing the members of the family and whatnot, trying to piece together what happened. And it's a murder mystery. First and foremost, a comedy. Doesn't sound like a comedy, but it is. But it is so much more than that, because it is this. You talk about the nightmare hellscape for the last 27 months.
Yeah.
It's been going on longer than that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And this movie kind of gets to the heart of a good part of what's been going on within the boundaries of the hellscape. And when he goes down there and he starts interviewing, because you have this sort of, not for lack of a better term, this sort of this D-bag from New York. The opening scene is literally him and assumingly his best friend, John Mayer, basically just talking about how they got all these girls on their phone and hooking up with chicks and all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. So you have this D-bag from New York going down to Texas thinking that he's going to be down there with the yokels and it's going to be this shitty, like what he says on the phone, he's like, "Oh, you're in Texas?" Like, oh god. It's like, "Are you near Austin at least?" And like, no, we're like,
Sure.
like way much further than Austin. So going down there, but then this discovery that his perceptions of what's going on down there are not entirely true. Their perceptions of what's going on in New York and the hoity-toity society is not right. And everyone's sort of crafting their own narrative and crafting the idea that everything is so fucked up that we can't even deal with it anymore. So we have to craft a better narrative in our minds. And whether that be something as simplistic as like trying to make ourselves happy, or conspiracies that make a whole lot more sense
than reality.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have a podcaster and this murder, and maybe it's not a murder. Maybe it's something else. And I'm telling you, man, this movie, it's really funny. That's the thing that really has to get across here, is that this movie had me laughing like few things have recently. Making me laugh hard and pointed, and the satire is sharp. All the jokes about Texas are not amateur hour. They're not just the most basic yokel type crap that you could come up with Texas. There's like really smart stuff in there, even like kind of stuff that like you might even need to be from Texas to kind of get.
Okay.
Just kind of ironic in its own right. And then on top of it, you have it might not be like, I would put this actually. I said this last night that this would make a really great double feature with Knives Out. Now, Knives Out is more of a great twist on a murder mystery, but also has a little bit of pointed political commentary. This one, the political commentary is a little bit more upfront. So the murder mystery is not as twisty as you might want in that type of a story. But when the pieces come together and you get this conversation at the end of the movie, you start going like that. Like, man, that is very well thought out and articulated and put together. And I mean, this is a movie that's about something, which is, I don't get to say that often. Particularly something that looks like it could just be a throwaway piece of, fluff. And like Jon Stewart, like last year, tried to do a movie kind of like this that was a little more political with Steve Carell and Rose Byrne.
The where they were trying to it was like before a vote, they were trying to get someone like elected, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And Stewart gets so many things wrong in that movie that BJ Novak gets so right in this one. And I'm telling, this movie is so good. Ashton Kutcher gives an unbelievable performance in it.
Okay.
Ashton Kutcher has never been better in his entire career as he is in this movie. So good. So good. And even the ending, you'll probably be not surprised and then really surprised by things that happen during the climax of this movie. And it's so funny. It's so on target. It's so great. It's called Vengeance, and not a lot of people are probably going to see it in the theater this weekend. There'll be a lot of people that won't want that kind of material spelled out for them in such a way, and that'll probably even turn off critics in some respect, because it's like show don't tell. Okay, but sometimes you need to tell.
I would even hazard a guess. I'm obviously not up on movies as much as you are, but I'm probably up on movies more than the average person, and I hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah,
I certainly haven't seen a trailer. And this opens when? 2 days from now?
Yeah.
You're lucky if anybody goes.
Yeah.
Like again, unless you're really up on movies and you knew about this going into it, I doubt people even know it exists.
Yeah.
That's sad. I mean, especially if it's as good as you say it is, like that's sad that it's not going to get as big an audience as it should get.
Yeah. I don't even know if they know what they have, but it's, again, movies like that, that have that kind of message to it. And it's not just something that's just taking shots at Texans, although there are shots of Texans in the movie. But it shows good qualities too, and bad qualities of the main character. And the end of the movie, I mean, the end of the movie should just there's a monologue at the end of this movie that feels like it should just be running across the screen here during the show, because it feels like the kind of thing that you and I talk about outside of this show, not on Pissed, our other show. Pissed,
yeah, that's right, Pissed,
that we're still working on.
Come to the Patreon that I've set up but haven't done anything with yet.
Pissed on Patreon.
That's right.
But it's so good. It's so good.
Well, I that's definitely on my list. Is it one of those things where they know, like, in theaters for 2 weeks, then available on streaming? Like, are they already kind of doing that?
Well, it's not going to make a lot of money, so it'll probably be on streaming in probably like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Something like that. Video on demand, at least, so you have to pay for it at home.
Sure.
But, yeah.
This would seem like that would... well, I can vamp. I can't time out, but I can vamp.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Oh well, here I can talk about it, but I'll wait. I'll talk about something.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
Be right back.
We mentioned BJ Novak, and that was The Office. If anybody didn't know, he was one of the writers on The Office, as well as being the star on there. I didn't know he was even doing this movie. Just for the sake of argument, let's see if I can find the trailer. I didn't even know one existed. Vengeance. Trailer, 2022. Look at that. Yeah, July 29th by Universal. Interesting. All I see is Ashton Kutcher in a cowboy hat. All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. This might take a minute. We're gonna take a little break for a second. Remember, we're live.
Are we?
Yep.
Good.
As long as you're physically okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I had to go find a drive shaft for a second.
That's right.
I feel much better. Anyway, no, but you were mentioning. I'm glad you mentioned that about BJ Novak with The Office, because even to this day, I always wondered. I know that he directed some episodes and he's listed as a solo writer on a number of episodes. But it was always funny to me that he always got a credit at the opening of the show. Like, it's Carell and Dwight and Rainn Wilson and Krasinski and Fisher, and that makes sense. And then BJ Novak, and he's the temp, and he's like, of all the people in that office, he's almost like the most muted character, at least the first couple of seasons. He's
definitely the first couple of seasons.
He's there as a reactor, for the most part. But it's that kind of thing that's so prevalent in Vengeance, but not as muted. Like his commentary and his asides when people would say something that he feels is ridiculous comes out a little more forcefully in this one. And I really now want to go back and specifically watch the episodes of The Office that he wrote, because I really want to see like the commentary and some of the biting, if it's as biting as this is, because this has got teeth. This really has teeth.
I think you see more of that sort of stuff those later seasons of The Office, when he comes back from the corporate stuff. And he's more vengeful and bitter and angry. Yeah. There's a little bit of angry on The Office still isn't angry, but like, right. There's a little bit of that commentary of like, I'm back now and I'm in charge, and he's mad at Michael and all that stuff. You get it's not so much a social commentary, but it does show his a little bit more of his vengeful side, clearly. Yeah,
and this one is I can't wait to watch it again. I really can't.
Well, you said you could hear me, but yeah, I pulled up the trailer. I found it. I definitely have not seen that trailer. So again, I don't know who has. But if you instantly see him standing next to a car with Ashton Kutcher, and Kutcher's got his little kerchief around his neck and a cowboy hat, and he's leaning up against the car, and I'm like, okay, now I wanted to see it anyway, but like, all right, I see where that's going. Let's have a look.
It's funny, like when I first heard this movie existed many months ago or something like that, the way it was being described, and I can't remember if it was just the outlets that were describing it or if it was just the way it was being pitched out there, into the ether, but it was described like BJ Novak did a horror movie. I'm like, really? All of a sudden, he's going to be the next Jordan Peele? Like, this is where we're going with this? This movie's not a horror movie.
Sure.
I mean, it's a horror movie, I suppose, but it's not, this isn't scary. It's scary, but it's
for
not
a whole nother reason.
It's not a Jordan Peele type of horror movie. It's a comedy. It's a comedy, and it's a comedy first, murder mystery second, a social commentary all around. But it's not a horror movie. So, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed, so that's awesome. I put that on my list.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
We'll again throw the trailer. I'll throw links to it in the notes for both audio and video. So, my third, I don't think you've watched this, but you know of him. I had watched the first season, and I had forgotten there was a second season, and then I just recently went back and watched the second season. Because I needed something to really make me laugh, and I knew that there were some big laughs because of ridiculous stuff. And so I gave it a shot, and boy, did it deliver. And what I'm talking about is, I think you should leave with Tim Robinson.
I've never seen this show.
Okay. So if you don't know who Tim Robinson is, he was on Saturday Night Live for, I think, like a season. And I think he was only a writer, and I think he only appeared on like one sketch or something. He didn't last long. I guess his pitches were not done well, and he was just kind of his own dude. I don't know the particulars of what happened there, but I do know that he didn't last long at Saturday Night Live. He then went on to do a show which I didn't watch at the time, excuse me, but I'm now definitely going to go back and watch. It was on Comedy Central, I think. It was called Detroiters.
Which I heard great things about.
Yeah, and mostly because of Tim Robinson. And it's these guys who go back to, like, I think it's their town, like, from when they were in school, and I think they're an ad agency. And so they try to go, like, do PR and ad work for people in town, something along those lines. And I believe it's in Detroit. But the key part, the reason he's become semi-famous again is because Netflix gave him a comedy sketch show. And every episode is anywhere from 15 to 17 minutes long. It's usually 1 or 2 or 3 skits. It's very, very quick. They hit and they leave. But usually there's one longer sketch of the 2 or 3 or 4 amongst that 15 to 17 minutes. I'm going to describe a couple of them to you just to show how ridiculous they are. One is he's at a birthday party, and the guy's opening up the gifts, and you know how you do in a group of people. Oh, that's really great, and this is great, and it gets to Tim's gift. He gives it to the guy. The guy opens it, and it's not the greatest gift in the world, and I think it's like a little wreath. And Tim goes, "Hey man, there's a receipt in there in case you want to return it." And okay, thanks, man. You know, and he puts it next. Well, he opens up the next one, and his reaction is better. So Tim, to make it uncomfortable, goes, "Well, why don't you give me my receipt back then?" The guy's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you said you like the gift. You don't need the receipt." And he goes, "Well, what?" And he just becomes like belligerent about it, and it becomes this whole thing where he needs to get the receipt back. Well, if he gets the receipt back, well, how do I know? Well, I'm going to eat it. I eat paper all the time. And then he's yelling for no reason. And that's part of the funny he just yells in half of these skits. And it makes me laugh because he's so dumb. Like, his characters are dumb, intentionally dumb. He gets himself into these things like Life and Times of Tim, which is not related to this Tim, where he gets himself in these goofy situations. So he wants the receipt, so he gets it back, and then he eats it. But not everything, but half of the skits involve some sort of child words to describe adult things like going to the bathroom or shit. You know, you dropped a big steam and dump loaf in the thing, like dump loaf, or, you know, like it's like a kid would make these words up, but it's an adult in a skit talking about, I'm sick to my stomach now, I need an ambulance. He's screaming. What do you mean? He's like, I ate that receipt, it touched your hand. I bet you didn't wipe after you left that big chunky loaf in the toilet, you know. And then how do I prove that I swear I didn't wipe? She needs to eat her receipt because you never touched it. And if she eats her receipt and doesn't get sick, we know that you didn't wipe when you left the chunk loaf in the toilet. And so this other girl initially is like, that's ridiculous. But the more the guy receiving the presents sort of fights the idea, you all of a sudden hear her go, "Give me my receipt." And then he's like, "Okay." And he gives it to her, so she eats the paper, doesn't get sick. So now everybody at the party thinks the guy doesn't wash his hands after he takes a dump. And then everyone starts leaving the party. Well, I can't believe we're in a house now. It smells like shit in here. You know, everybody's screaming at him. They all leave, right? So they leave the party. The last person left is Tim on the couch, and he goes, "All you had to say was that you liked the gift." Like, that's how he ends that skit. It's the most ridiculous premise, and the fact that all the anytime there's something where you would overly swear or talk about like crap or sex, he has to insert a word that sounds like a 9-year-old made it up, and that makes it even more funny to me because I'm a 9-year-old. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Yeah. One of the other silly sketch, these are one of the shorter ones, is the guy's trying to back out of a parking spot. They're doing kind of the back and forth. Oh, the guy's in my way. But the guy backing up's clearly in a rush. He goes to back up. He gets behind Tim. Tim tries to pull into a parking spot, can't quite make it. The guy starts screaming out his window, "Get the hell out of my way. Come on, let's go. Don't you know how to drive?" Tim turns around his window and goes, "I don't know how to drive. Why are you yelling at me?" And he just starts like getting upset. The guy's like, "You're ridiculous. Get that piece of crap out of my way." And then he's like, "I don't even know what these things are in the car." And he's like pointing at the steering wheel. It's
the drive shaft.
Yeah, the drive shaft. He's underneath the car, of course. But yeah, so he's pointing at the steering wheel. "I don't even know what this does." And he accidentally hits the horn. When he hits the horn goes off. He just starts screaming. I have no idea why. He's like, "Oh!" He starts shaking and screaming. It's the most ridiculous reaction to accidentally hitting the horn in your own car. And he's saying he doesn't even know how to drive, but he pulled into the lot, and this guy's stuck by, and the guy just can't fucking take him anymore because he's so ridiculous. And of course, at the end of the skit, for no reason, as he's turning to talk to him, he slides off the thing and bumps the horn again, and he just starts screaming and shaking his head in the window of the car. I damn near shit myself. Like, it dropped a chunk loaf or whatever he called it. Like, it's the most silly. Yeah.
Dude, you have me laughing.
Yeah.
I've never seen a frame of this show. Just you acting out this stuff makes me want to go put it on. Like, right now.
Well, at the very least, watch the first 2 of the first season. It's going to take 25 minutes. Like, that's okay.
I know people that swear by this show. I've seen people on Twitter, people that I follow. Like, I remember when the second season came out. I was like, "Oh my, thank God, this is back." And whatnot, but I honestly, I'd never even heard of the first season, honestly, and wasn't familiar with him, didn't know what they were talking about, and it was just one of those things you just got kind of like lost in the shuffle with all the stuff, but hey, I'm gonna watch this now.
There's an actor, I'm not gonna ruin it, but there's an actor that you know of that we've seen recently in something else. Okay. He is in a couple of he's not there. He doesn't have like a troupe of people. It's mostly him, but there are a couple recurring people that are in, more than one skit. So you'll see him often. And there's a guy that you've seen in something else appears periodically. And so you'll get because he is not like you've seen him in other stuff.
Right.
And so to see him in this other way is pretty great. He's an announcer at a what is essentially a beauty show, but it's not. I'm not even going to go into it because I'm going to ruin it. I'm just telling you, they're stupid. Let's just get this off the top. They're stupid, but they're stupid funny. They're ridiculous funny. Another one, and again, I don't want to ruin it, but in essence, they're having a board meeting. It's very professional. Someone takes a break. One of the guys, to try to break the ice, kind of jumps on the table, and he's kind of doing, "I'm surfing," like trying to make his coworkers have some fun. Yeah. And then, everyone's like, "Oh, whatever." It just escalates, where everybody sort of gets involved. Like, "Oh, I'm dancing," they're like to try to, have some fun. And Tim just basically tips the entire table over, and this guy goes crashing into the wall. And of course he's like, I thought I was having fun like everybody else, but he's the most ridiculous response.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta watch it. The car thing with him turning around and accidentally elbowing the horn, I was easily laughing for 5 minutes straight, like out loud, like guffawing, laughing. I couldn't stop myself, and I bet you if I watched it right now, I would laugh the exact same way because it is he's like a cartoon. So when he starts that, like, laughing or screaming or being ridiculous, there's a skit where he's dressed up in one of those like hot dog costumes.
Yes,
because you've seen stills probably, and you've seen him in that. That skit is in season 1. also very funny. So yeah, it's called I Think You Should Leave. I think it technically says with Tim Robinson, but you just look up I Think You Can Leave. It's on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Right? Okay. I Think You Should Leave.
I Think You Should Leave. And they only have 2 seasons up. I don't know if it's been approved for a third. With Netflix, you're lucky if you get 2. So these are I think there's only like 7 a season, and they're 15 minutes long, so you'd hope they give them a third one. It'll make you laugh. If you like that sort of humor, and I needed it, and boy did it help. It was, it brought me out of a funk, so it's a good time. And now because of this, I'm going to go back and watch Detroiters.
Well, yeah, I know. I heard good things about that, and that's got Sam Richardson on it, who I'm a big fan of from Veep and and the After Party. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah,
I think that's the show, Detroiters. Yeah, well, I should probably change my thing. The thing I'm most looking forward to is I Think You Should Leave now at this point. But
now next 2 weeks you can talk about how you've watched it and
very possible. But then the thing I'm most looking forward to, because I've been hearing good things about it, that people have started watching it, and I got my link for it yesterday, so it's
promo.
Promo, yes. Sitting here waiting for me to watch it, and I just haven't had a chance to watch it because I've had 7 other things I've had to watch this week, including Vengeance. But next week on Hulu, a new Predator film is dropping.
Yes.
Prey, Prey. And I don't know the entire consensus on it, but the people that I have heard that have seen it that I trust in, they're saying very good things about it. In fact, they're saying things like, I wish I could have seen it in a theater kind of thing. And it's only going to be on Hulu. It's not going to be in theaters anywhere, but hearing really good things about it. And I'm a fan of the Shane Black one, the last one he did, The Predator.
Okay.
It's not great, but it's a Shane Black Predator movie, and I was good with that. Yeah. So I mean, the Predator, it's an uneven franchise at best, but everyone says or so far people are saying that this one is good. So I'm hopefully to get to that in the next few days. It was hopefully a pleasure watch.
That trailer looks so good.
I didn't watch the trailer yet.
I can't remember how it popped up. I think I was watching something on YouTube or something, and it came up as a trailer, and I was like, oh, should I watch it? That trailer's really good.
Yeah, I didn't even watch it because I didn't want to. I really tried not to watch trailers as much as I possibly can, unless it's something I really want to get my eyes on. And so I've just avoided it. And I'm like, oh, I heard people like, oh, this looks good. And I'm like, what does that mean? But now that people have got eyeballs on it and they're saying it's good, okay, I'm in. I'm looking forward to it.
It appears it's as if they took that last 20 minutes of the original Predator and turned it into its own movie.
Yeah.
Like, 1v1.
Right.
Him hunting her down,
Yeah.
The premise, at least from the trailer, and I read a small article about it, it sounds like they're going back to, as much as 2 did it, the hottest summer in LA, that kind of thing. Like, I'm an apologist for 2. I like 2 for its own silliness.
It's not as bad as I think its reputation is. And I really like the last 45 minutes of Predator 2. I think the first, my biggest problem with Predator 2, and this is when I first saw it in the theater, was it puts you through the exact same paces of everything we already know. I know it's new characters. I know they have to discover all this crap about the Predator and whatnot, but for 70 minutes, basically, it's us learning all the shit we already knew from the first movie, and I'm just kind of like, get to it already. And the last 40 minutes of that movie kind of gets to it.
Oh, it gets to it. That's what I
Yeah, the start with the subway scene on R.I.P. Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
And it goes on from there, and then that extended chase between him and Glover, I think it's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember liking it more the second time I revisited it more than I did when I saw it in the theater.
The unfortunate thing now is when you watch that chase scene, you can tell the outside of the buildings and stuff is set. It's not as nice looking as if they were to do that movie now.
Yeah.
But because they'd CG it up or whatever, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell it was on a green screen. But that chase is pretty great, and they even throw that's like, hey, you don't like humor, like when the Predator runs through that old woman's apartment and she busts through the door. Like, I don't mind there being a joke here and there. Like, people are so ridiculous about that. I love how they expanded on the Lauren too, how they showed how he can flip through the spectrums of light, and he had additional weapons. He's a different Predator, so he's outfitted different for his hunt. And then you get to that ship at the end with the alien skull and the pride of Predators, the family of whatever you want to call them, the hunting party of Predators, and an elder one, and the fact that the Predator wouldn't kill her because she was pregnant. Like, they add a lot to that Lauren too that you did. He was just a hunter killer in the first one. In the second one, you're like, wow, there's this whole other stuff that goes on with the Predator. That's why I really like that movie.
I always resented the fact that that was the thing I remember in the theater, because even in the theater watching it with that the last 40 minutes of the movie, I'm like, well, now this is getting fun. This is really getting good. And then it gets to the point where all the Predators show up and Danny Glover sitting there. I'm like, oh, shit. And then they all just kind of walk away. And I was like, oh. Like,
what, did you want him to kill him?
I don't know what I wanted, but I didn't want him to just, like, okay, let him go.
No, that's another reason why there was so much lore.
I was 15 at the time.
I understand.
Yeah.
But there was so much lore they dumped on you in that last 5 minutes. The ship.
Yeah.
It's not just human skulls. There's trophies. Fine. Look at all the different kinds. There's like a rhino-looking kind of dinosaur-y thing. There's an alien skull, the little fun Easter egg in there. The pride, like, he's surely dead, man. This guy, like, he killed their brother or whatever. Yeah. But that's how much of hunters they are. They respected him, and they let him go. Yeah. You bested one of us, and we were one of the best. They even give him a trophy.
Yeah.
They give him the flintlock pistol from, like, a pirate. Like, and then you're like, whoa, there was one of these guys was probably the elder was around while the pirates were around. Like, that's so great. Like, oh my God, they could do a prequel there where a pirate ends up on an island and the Predator comes and gets and hunts down the pirates. That's, as much as the movie's kind of cheesy now, if there's a little bit of cheese to it, I love all the stuff they added to it. And watching this Prey trailer, it looks like they're going, and I'm not going to ruin anything, it just looks like they're going back to not just Predator basics, but like the basics of the whole concept.
Right.
And that intrigued me a lot. I was like, wow, it's literally going to be one-on-one and this weird hunt situation. Like, what? Yeah, it looks very interesting. I'm hoping it's good. I really am.
That's the word so far.
So you have the link right now? Oh,
want to come over?
It wouldn't be till Friday night. Oh, it'd be tomorrow. No, 2 days.
Yeah,
it'd be Friday night.
Could happen.
Am I allowed?
Sure.
We're on live. Someone from Netflix will be watching.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. Is it on? When does it go live? Or who?
Next Friday.
Hulu next Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah. I'm also very anxious for that. That's cool.
Yeah. You should watch the Shane Black one if you haven't seen it. It's fun.
The Predator.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Isn't that the one where they're like genetically trying to make him like the coolest predator ever? Or is that the one where they're on the alien planet?
No, that's Predators. That's the Brody one. That one has a great opening, and the first 45 minutes of it aren't bad, and then it gets really stupid. The Predator is back on Earth, and I get it. It's a little more. It's not. I wouldn't even jokey is not the word. I mean, there's a lot more humor in it because it's Shane Black. That's how he writes and whatnot. And there's a team and whatnot. But it's fun.
Isn't the one where they're like trying to make the Jeanette the superior predator or something like?
There's a part of the subplot. Even when you watch it, there's a lot of stuff that you'll see in the editing a little bit, certain scenes that like they had to piece some things together a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah, I saw it a midnight movie at Toronto when it premiered that year, and it kept me awake. So
well, that's good.
That's how I review movies. They keep me awake. 3 stars.
Well, I'm anxious. So next Friday, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, Hulu.
Hulu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought that was Netflix.
Nope. Hulu.
Wow.
20th Century Fox. Most of their 20th Century Fox now part of Disney. Hulu being part of Disney and whatnot. All of the Fox stuff now generally goes on Hulu.
Well, it'll be interesting because Disney Plus just added Logan and the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
I guess parents groups are all pissed off because I think they put a warning before the movie starts. Yeah. And B, I think it's in its own section. Like you have to search for it.
Yeah, God forbid you have to hit a button to hit your parental control in Disney Plus and block that section off if you don't want your kids watching it. There are a lot of PG movies on Disney Plus that are, they might not say fuck all the time, but go watch The Black Hole with your kids. Enjoy.
Yeah, wasn't it Ryan Reynolds that came out and said, yeah, for all those people that are upset, you want to know some movies that your kids shouldn't be watching that are on Disney Plus?
Did you say that?
Yeah, I think there's like an article where he tweeted. He's like, how about watching this with your kid on Disney Plus? Yeah. Yes, they're not throwing out the F word every 5 seconds, but yeah, it's so dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked about my fascination with the He-Man cartoon when I was a kid, and I've talked about now in my almost age 50 wanting to steal my nostalgia from being a kid again. I've been getting these. I'll show them again because they're so cool. These 1/6 action figure statues. Mm-hmm. I haven't posed this way. This is the He-Man, but they're adult collectors kind of stuff. They're a little bit more expensive, a little bit fancier, blah blah blah. Well, they're made by a company called Mondo, and they're 1/6 scale. They're 12 inches to 12.5, 13 inches, depending on the figure tall. And anytime a convention happens, which is usually twice a year, Mondo will go and they'll show all their, here's what's coming up. And, they may have like a cast of something they're designing already for, 18 months from now. So like a year ago, I think I saw Trapjaw.
Ah, okay.
So it was like I think it was like, gray or blue casting of this is what Trapjaw is probably going to look like when we finally make him kind of thing. So this year was San Diego Comic-Con this last weekend. This past week. Yeah, I mean, everything goes on there. Movie trailers, Marvel stuff, toy stuff, everything goes on. The comics stuff everywhere. And, of course, toy companies are there. And Mondo being this sort of high-end collector, they love their glass cases to show you all the fun stuff, like I said. And so the latest one to come out was She-Ra. Mm-hmm. Was the latest buy. Of course, I bought because I'm a dumbass. And then they had a newer version of the Skeletor, which I also have. I haven't shown on the podcast, but I have Skeletor from Revelations, the cartoon. So they have a new casting of Skeletor, but he looks like the cartoon version. And it was really badass. And it was only 2,000 made, and it was a Comic-Con exclusive. So you had to get, be on right at the right time. And I don't know how the hell I did it, but I got lucky and I got one. Mm. So my buddy Adam, who you've met once, he got one as well, so we both got lucky there. But he is the one who sent me the text to a link to someone's Instagram or Twitter who goes to cons like we do here in Chicago, but he went to the Mondo booth and took video and photos of their glass case. And the thing I'm looking forward to is they have a full Tila, which they already had pictures, so they had a full Tila in the glass case. Yeah. Comes with all of her different heads and swords and crap. They had the almost final production painted version of Trapjaw. So he's probably coming in the next few months. But you got to see a really badass picture, and boy, does he look. I'll send you a picture when we're done here. Okay. Badass picture of Trapjaw. And it didn't have any of his, because, he has the arm with all the hook and the gun and all that crap. It didn't have all his parts, but it had him standing. But the coup de grace, and Adam and I knew this was coming, but they had a fully painted, what appeared to be fully done, this is what you'll get when you order him, if you're probably lucky enough to get him, Battlecat. Now, when I show you this thing, and it's 12 to 13 inches tall with all the crap on him and everything, and he's this big, imagine how massive Battlecat is going to have to be for him to fit on him properly. Yeah. The thing is damn near, based on the picture, briefly, if you were to take the He-Man, flip him sideways, he's probably 2.5 He-Mans long. So you're talking 2.5 feet long. He's going to have to be off the ground on the Battlecat saddle. So he's probably 12 inches from bottom of foot to top of saddle, the red saddle, the He-Man would hold on to. Yeah. He's at least 12 inches high from foot to top of saddle. Mm-hmm. And then He-Man, they have one sitting on him, full, sword up, on Battlecat with all the armor on. Battlecat's head with the armor, the big red metal, thing with the 2 points that come out to his jaws. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You get what appears to be 3 more heads, so you can make him Cringer. So it's like the cartoon Cringer, scared face. Right. A growling non-armored head, and then like a passive non-armored head, and then there's the one on him as a statue. And then it looks like you get a little silly, like, Cringer. He's very small, probably only about 3 inches long. I don't know why he's there. Maybe it's just a fun thing to include with the package. Mm-hmm. Like I've said, these have gotten kind of expensive. That Battlecat is easily going to be twice as expensive. I mean, he's massive. And so I already told Mrs. Fun, I'm going to have to do something to start saving, because that is, I'm not missing out on that. Yeah. I don't care if I miss out on the rest of them the rest of the year. I want that fucking Battlecat. I saw that picture. I have to start painting, or someone's house or something. I got to figure out a way to make money, because he's easily going to be probably $500 or $600. I've never spent that much on a statue or anything. Well, I can't say that. No, he would be the most expensive, probably collectible I've ever bought after Galactus, which hasn't arrived yet. But
what's the going rate for blood? Like $75?
Yeah, plasma I think is like $100 or $200. Maybe I'll sell my plasma.
Do you have a rare blood type?
I don't, unfortunately.
God damn it.
Yeah, I wish. Now at this point, I do have some other collectibles I'm thinking about selling. I have some old Hellboy figures that I guess have become very rare. So I'm thinking about maybe selling those, and I'm probably going to use that money to flip for Battlecat. But the problem is Mondo. If they're, like I said, some of these things have been hard to get, and I missed out on Scareglow as the only one I don't have of these things. There've probably been 14 of them at this point. He's the only one I've missed. I think with that last He-Man, they've made it so they're timed. They're not limited, which is good to hear. And so they're like, this will be available for 24 hours to order. And then it looks like they make them to order, not there's only 4,000, and then all the resellers come in with their computer bots, steal them all, and then throw them up on eBay for twice as much. Yeah. Now it looks like they're going to do this like 20, the Battle Armor He-Man with all the extra parts was 24 hours. She-Ra was 48 hours. And so it looks like they're listening and not making it so dumb. So if that's the case, hopefully Battlecat will be that way and I won't miss out. Because that's my only... Even if I have the money, the hard part's going to be getting him. But, man, I'll show you this picture. Your jaw's going to drop. It is fully posable, just like him. Tons of parts and metal and all this stuff. And then with He-Man on top of him, he looks so badass. I really can't wait. No release date yet, so we don't know. But
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So to recap a little bit, you talked about The Last Movie Stars on HBO, 6 parts.
Yeah.
That's now on my list. Miss Marvel on Disney Plus. I really enjoyed it, and I think you'll like it for what it is.
My list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Both got new wallets. You didn't know that was going to happen, but we both got new, nice, trim wallets.
Yes.
If you want to power wash virtually with a bunch of people, have some fun. It's silly fun, and it's free on Game Pass, for lack of a better term. Vengeance, the movie, B.J. Novak's new movie, and that's going to be out at theaters this Friday.
This Friday, 29th.
And then... You want to laugh or you're feeling down at all, I'm telling you, if you like someone screaming for no reason and talking about chunk muffins in a toilet or whatever he calls them, I think you should leave with Tim Robinson on Netflix. And then Prey, not the game, which is also very good, by the way. Both of them are actually very good. Prey, the new Predator movie on Hulu. Yeah. Next Friday,
August 5th.
So 9 days from today. And then that badass Battlecat. Cannot wait. I'll post a link to the Twitter thing that Adam sent me. So you'll be able to see a picture that way of what I'm talking about. But yeah. So thanks again.
Of
fun
course.
As usual.
Yes.
And we'll enjoy. So please... like and subscribe if you're watching on video. Follow and rate if you're listening on iTunes. Also, go on iTunes and Spotify for the Movie Madness podcast and the Friendship Dilemma podcast, which Erik runs second one along with Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our Fury Road episode is killing right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have not listened to that yet. It's like right next on the list.
Yes,
so.
It's our longest episode, but we have Nick DiGilio and Colin Suter guest star on that one, and it's quite a conversation. It's really great.
Can imagine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. See you later, everybody.